Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Sarah and today we're going to go over how to deal with death when it comes to our pets. For someone that has lived through a lot of deaths with my pets, I can explain from a broader perspective exactly how to go about dealing with this. I'm vegan. I've been vegan for a long time. However, I have cats and dogs. After feeding them with a lot of cans and experiencing COVID by being home a lot, I started feeding them myself. I noticed that these cans are not really good for our pets, and therefore our pets end up sick and die young. They don't last a very long time as they should. So I took matters into my own hands and went to the grocery store, bought meat, and used every part of the meat in order to feed my animals. Now I've been doing this for years and years, for quite some time now. And I can let you know that, animals do die and it's very difficult. It's very difficult. I've lost material things as well. And losing animals is also, very difficult. And if not more difficult, I agree. And look at it this way. If you can go through losing your material goods, and if you can go through losing your pets and still survive and be even stronger than before, because you're going to see at some point, pets dying is going to be a piece of cake. And I'm going to get to that. It's going to be nothing, and you're going to see why. So once you go through losing all your material goods and losing your pets, your family members, God forbid, like losing anything you have in life, makes you stronger because it desensitizes you after practice. So once you are desensitized, after horrific things, then guess what? Nothing eventually can get to you. Eventually, down the road, nothing is gonna be able to penetrate your aura because you've seen it all. You've lived through it all. So as somebody that really, really loved taking care of my pets, they're like my babies, right? So it doesn't matter if they're a different species, they're also my babies. So I take great care of them, mentally, physically, spiritually. Cats come and go. And this is how I found out. So I'm vegan. I go to the grocery store for the animals. So in the beginning, it was very difficult. It was very difficult because I don't want any meat. I had a rule in the house, no meat in the house. If you want to bring meat, you eat it on the patio. I have a large patio in the back and it has, furniture, just like a living room. It has a fridge, just like a kitchen. It has a stove. It has whatever you want. You can cook outside. So in the beginning, that was my rule. Meat outside, I didn't want my house to smell. When you cook fish, it smells. When you fry chicken, it smells. I didn't want that smell lingering, So I made a rule. People that eat meat, eat outside. And then I had pots and pans just for the animals because that's not going to touch my stuff. Then I would cook only outside. Anyways, fast forward, bottom line, all of this to say that now I cook inside with my own pots and pan. I play with the meat every day. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. But I've become desensitized, right? That's what happens. You become desensitized. So I thought about it. I was like, how come in certain scenery I cry, when I see, let's say, dead animals or whatever, and how come in other areas I'm desensitized? So I thought about it. And it's because first, I'm going for the lesser species. I'm sacrificing the lesser species for my cats because I wouldn't go get, dead cats to feed chickens, Let's say if chickens would eat meat, they don't. But let's say if they do eat meat, I wouldn't. It wouldn't make any sense. It wouldn't. So it's the opposite, right? It's kind of justifiable that I go get birds for my cats. Two, the birds are already dead, right? So let's say if Costco, tomorrow, let's say I boycott Costco. I refuse to go to Costco tomorrow, right? And I stop buying these birds for my cats. I'm trying to send a message, right? What happens? First, my cats go hungry. Second, Costco doesn't even notice. Trust me, Costco, there's so many people, there's lineups. They won't even notice if tomorrow I stop buying. So unfortunately, we live in a society where the consumer has no choice but to consume what's available, right? Like I can't go kill chickens on my own, and I wouldn't. So that means my cats would die. I have no choice but to go to the grocery store and get what's available. So that has desensitized me. And with time, chopping legs and, body parts or whatever when it comes to animals and feeding my animals has also desensitized me. So you see, this is very dangerous because when it's alive and they just die in front of me, it's over. I lose my shit. I also used to go into depression. And that's what it is. It's because we're trying to save the lives that are remaining on the planet, right? The ones that are dead, there's nothing we can do about it. All we can do is use their body for good, like I do for the animals. But the ones that are alive, we got to do everything in our power to keep them alive. And that's why it's consciousness that hits you. Consciousness can't hit me when I'm cooking the birds for my cats because consciousness understands, what I have to do. But consciousness hits me when I go to a restaurant and all these people are wasting and have no idea that they're wasting. They think they're doing a favor. Or, I see dead animals on the beach and the government's not doing anything about it. This is consciousness. It's very painful to watch. So what's going to happen eventually? Dead birds are going to be a norm. This is what they're doing. They're desensitizing. What do you think? Gavin's not doing anything. Trust me, Malibu has so much money, but they're not doing anything whatsoever. It's more the people going on the ground and saying, hey, or the nonprofits that are paying out of pocket in order to go clean, but no one's doing anything. The government's not doing anything because it's the government's job. Listen, I worked for the city. It's the government's job to clean the water. And this in Montreal would have never ever happened because in Montreal, nobody knows what's happening. When there's a leakage, everybody jumps on it. It's a social country, don't forget. Everyone's equal. So when everyone's equal and living under the same conditions, when there's a leakage in the water, trust me, and I'm talking about Quebec, the French, because the French, they're very outspoken. They will never let leakage like that happen. Never. They will jump on it because, like I said, they don't know what's happening. I know that the bottom floor of the civilians take it to heart to take care of the city. So there's no dumps like that. There's so many organizations that would come and prevent such a thing from happening. So don't look at Trudeau. Trudeau, he's Castro. He's all the way on the top. But the people on the bottom on a social system, they're very kind. They're all looking out for each other. So this spill, Gavin's not doing anything, and us, we're not equipped to do anything there. It's huge metals, it's rusted. Nobody wants to go near that, right? So we're dependent. We're a species that's dependent on somebody to take care of us, just like the animals. This is why we need to guard the animals. We're the guardians. We're not their owners. We don't own these animals. They come, we feed them, we take care of them, and then when they go, they go. So I've lost a lot of pets, unfortunately, because a lot has come and go. And this is why I think life is preparing me to be all jungle, because trust me, I've never had to deal with animals like this in my previous life. You can't deal with an office life in a company and come take care of so many animals. So trust me when I'm telling you, this happened after the wonderful event of 2020. So now that I know exactly how to take care of animals, and I have a whole section of medication in the fridge just for the animals, that's how much equipment I have. So this has, made me an expert now. Now I know what's wrong with the animal when there's symptoms. I know what's gonna happen. Like so many deaths. At some point, it becomes a lesson. You start learning from these deaths. And like I said, you become desensitized, right? So it's really important to keep going, okay? I know a lot of my friends and family members that have lost pets and they stop there. They told me, oh, I can't replace this dog. He's unreplaceable. This is not a question of replacing. Listen, I've had cats and dogs come in all the time. It's not a question of replacing. The love you're giving to that one pet, when that pet disappears, there's so many other pets that would love that love. So to me, the best thing is to turn around ASAP, the same day, the next day if you can, and go get yourself another animal. Because now you're giving that same love to an animal. It's not betrayal. It's not like, it's the best way, in my opinion, to recuperate by giving love to another species as innocent as your dog or cat that needs the love. To me, that's very important, and now it's super easy for me to do that. So another example, I've lost a lot of cats, and just to give you an example of one of them, how I lost. So one of them wasn't that loud, she was very quiet. So one day I couldn't find her anywhere. Nobody can find her anywhere in the house. So I created pamphlets. I put pamphlets everywhere in the park, on the streets, everywhere in my neighborhood. Please call me if you've seen this, cat. Fast forward, months later, I'm like, what is that smell? There's this smell in the house. I follow the smell and it leads me to the laundry room. Behind the washer and dryer machine, what do I find? The cat, right? I had no idea. I was putting pamphlets. I thought she escaped, She fell behind the laundry room machine, laundry machine, and didn't make any noise. And me opening the laundry all the time, every week, she ended up suffocating and dying. Imagine when I found that. I couldn't believe it. When I found that, I took the body, put it in a plastic bag, got rid of it, cleaned, and went and sat on the balcony. And I remember thinking to myself, like a year ago, I wouldn't have been able to come close to that. That would have grossed me out. First, it would have traumatized me that's the way I lost it. I was self-blame myself, go into a depression. But I noticed not even, no depression, no self-blame. I understood that it was out of my capacity. I did the best I could. It didn't meow at all. So I never heard it. But at the end of the day, I didn't beat myself up and I took care of the body like it was nothing. I couldn't believe it. I can't even get rid of a spider. I can't stand spiders, So imagine that. I was very proud of myself. In the middle of a death, I was proud of myself. But it took a long time for me to get there. One of my cats, I remember, she was sleeping on me in the living room on the couch. We were watching TV. She was napping. I opened the door. She goes straight outside, gets hit by a car. I never heard it because I was vacuuming. As soon as I opened the door, I started vacuuming. This happened, and the neighbor calls me. Hey, Sarah, I think this is one of your cats. I go outside. My God, not only was one of my cats, her face was smashed by the car. So I got to pick up the body, get rid of it. Anyways, that cat, I remember I was depressed for weeks or even months. It took me a very long time to first get the images out. Second, not blame myself because I opened the door, Anyways, horrific, right? But I'm telling you, you get desensitized. As a vegan who loves animals, I'm telling you, you get desensitized. At some point, you just do what you know is right in your heart and you continue. So I remember when Dillo died, I wanted to bury her, I was like, I'm going to bury her in my own backyard. And my mom told me, she's like, don't do that. And I said, why? It's my animal. I want her close to me. And she said, at the rate that you're losing animals, that's going to be a cemetery. And she's right, 100%. That would be a cemetery. I'd never be able to rent the house, sell the house. Imagine, the house comes with 20 dead cats in the backyard. Nobody would want it. So I understand, I understand you have to detach. And like I said, once the soul is out of the body, the body is just the body. It's like meat. It's 100%, the soul's not there anymore. So, it becomes trash. It's sad to say, but, these animals, they end up in the trash, in the compost, in the whatever. Not the compost, not in my backyard compost. Imagine I'm eating strawberries and I'm like, this one tastes like Dillo or it tastes like how Dillo smelled. That would be disgusting. So, unfortunately, it is what it is. Life happens. It starts, it continues, it ends for all of these species. And the same thing with animals. So for whoever that lost their animals recently, thank yourself for giving the animal such an incredible life, a life it will never forget. And after it transitions, it goes to the next level. So because you gave it consciousness, it transitions into the next level. So I strongly believe in that. And by letting them go, they get to go. Because Dillo, I tried to keep her. I was keeping her toys. I tried to bury her close to me. It was very hard for me to let go. But I realized I have to let go because the spirit needs to detach from me. If I keep her with me, she is going to be, or part of her is going to be stuck in the astral realm, So I understood, I made my goodbyes, and now I know she's flying high. So, to all the animal lovers, keep going, keep loving the animals. We are all that they have. They are hungry. Feed them, take care of them. If you see one on the side of the road, please pick it up. I used to come from a world where they get rid of animals. And I'm not talking about my country. I'm just talking about the environment. If you had a garden and, raccoons would come, my family would get the exterminator, So we don't do that anymore, but there are below us and they don't matter. But that's not true. That's not true. In my opinion, they are 100% equal because they have a different gift. You can't compare a fish to a bird and you can't compare a bird to a human, So it's not a question of comparing. It's just a question of guarding and taking care of the animals of our world. So, thank you very much. And thank you for the inspiration. I got inspired to make a video just like that because I did have energy to spend. So, I hope this video is helping people going through grief when it comes to their animals. Thank you very much. And on to the next one. Ciao.